Okay, I took my green onions out of these containers and put them in my grow bags. This is the first year I've ever used grow bags. I've never done this in a grow bag before, so I want to try them out. So these nice tall ones are all from the 6-packs that I planted in the house about a week ago. This is 1 week's worth of growth on them, nice and tall. Well, they've got a good 5-6 inches on them. And then you see all the other green onion, the other green onions, the bottoms that I planted. And I am going to see how many of those I can get to grow. I'm going to dump a little bit of water on this, and I am going to put a piece of plastic over it for tonight. And that is just a real quick update on the green onions that I started. But yeah, I mean, that's like a week. So they did really good in the 6-pack. Now let's see if we can keep them growing. So I made a mistake, and it's a pretty costly mistake from my garden area and stuff. And we don't like telling people or showing people the mistakes we make and stuff, but I just totally dropped the ball and I didn't pay attention, and it's gonna cost me just a little bit. I'll show you what happened. It's nothing that's an end all or anything, but it's just gonna cost me a little bit. So right there is the magnet on my tank that showed me the level of water that's in the tank. So that's, that's a good 250 gallons of water in the tank. And this is from the snow runoff. I was collecting it while the snow was melting off of the roof. And this valve got left open. And usually, as long as I have the hose up higher than the water line, I don't have to worry about that valve being shut because the water doesn't run out. I don't know what happened, how it happened, but I usually take this hose and run it through. Trying to do it one-handed is hard. I usually take the hose and try to run it through like this and just crimp it. Crimp it in there so that it stays. But somehow I walked out and the hose was lying on the ground, all the way on the ground. And that means that 100% of my water that I had stored up for the garden is gone. Now this isn't a big deal for most people who have a well that they can draw water for their garden from and stuff, but for me, living in a dry cabin, that's my water for the garden. So now I'm going to have to haul water at least until it rains. It's not supposed to rain anytime soon, and it usually doesn't rain until about June. And I need to have my garden going well before then so that things can get established before it starts raining too much. So I have to devise a plan on how I'm going to get water to my garden. Like I said, it's a pretty big mistake. It's going to cost me just a little bit. Not really in money, just time. So here we go. So this is the tank that I have on the back side of my sawmill roof that I collect water in when it rains. And since it's not going to rain, I'm not really too worried about the barrel not being there. As soon as it threatens to rain though, that barrel has to get back there so that I can get my other tank full. And I'll have to hand haul the water into that tank so I can get some water stored up. Just in case. We might have a dry summer this year, and I mean, we've had them in the past where it really didn't rain a whole lot. And yeah, that's a costly mistake. But what I do have is a little bit of water that was left from when the snow was running off of the sawmill roof before the snow slid off. And I'm going to get that in this jug. The side is cut out. And then it gives me an easy pour spout to put into that other tank. I might just leave it in here. I'll see how much water is actually in here. But my plan is to get this barrel emptied, put a pallet in the back of my pickup, put this barrel in the back of my pickup, and run and get a little bit of water just so I can get stuff planted, because I was planning on getting things planted today. Getting things planted this evening. So, yeah, it's opened up. Not a whole lot of water in here, but there's a little bit. And hopefully it's not so plugged up. It's not all plugged up. I might have to pick that barrel up. There's not a whole lot, like I said. So that went pretty smooth. I just ended up putting the barrel in the truck. With a piece of wood to block it so that it wouldn't roll. Because obviously if it rolled, all the water would just spill out. It is full up to here. Well, to here. It won't take any more water. So it's almost 55 gallons. I would say it's probably about 50 gallons of water that I was able to grab. And then I just use these buckets to grab that water. And it's just out of a nearby creek running pretty close to the house. Just drove down there, used the bucket, dumped it in. That's just the top to a fire extinguisher that I turned into a funnel. And I actually use that with this tank. So the downspout sits in there from the sawmill roof. So I'm going to get this water transferred into that other tank. There's a lot of airplanes flying overhead right now, jets. They're up there somewhere, but oh, there they are. Those aren't the ones you hear. Their noise is coming here in just a few minutes, a few seconds. I don't know if you can see the sky very well behind me, but those are storm clouds. It wasn't showing this on my phone yesterday. I'm an expert at a couple of things, but forecasting the weather isn't one of them. So it looks like it might actually rain. Good. I need some water in that tank. Let me go over and show you how much water I hauled yesterday and how full the tank is now. There we go. So you see the two magnets, and that's kind of how I gauge, I measure my water. So that is about where the tank was before I lost all of my water. And with the water that I hauled, I'll show you how I measure it. So I just get my hose and I put an end on it, so if it does fall off now and land on the ground, it's got a stop valve on it now. And that's what I did last year too. I just part of the problem, you know, is we all make mistakes, and that's just my mistake so far. So I'll open up the valve so you can kind of see, and I stick it up against the tank, and I just go down with it until the water starts appearing in the hose. And I know, see that right there? That is about the level that the water is in the tank right now. It'll equalize after a while. But so that magnet is just showing me about what my water level is right now. And I'll test it every once in a while. Usually I don't test it if it's this full. But if it starts running down and I know I haven't had any rain for a while, then I'll test it just so I kind of have an idea how much water I have in the tank while I am watering. So that's the only reason I kind of keep track of it. And now this magnet will just move down here, and I'll just do that with it for now. And then after it rains, I'll leave this magnet here, and I'll take that magnet and move it to the new location. And then I'll just do vice versa each time it rains, just so I can kind of gauge how much rain I'm collecting each time it rains. It's kind of a fun game for me. So what I did was I was hauling about 2.5 gallons at a time, and I set a ladder up right next to that tank, and I carried the water up the ladder, and I dumped it into the rain gutter, and it made it into the tank. Easiest way to do it. It took me about half an hour to do it. There is, I guesstimate, the barrel that I filled up was 50 gallons. So I guesstimate I probably got about 45 gallons once, you know, because you'd spill stuff, especially when you're dumping it into the rain gutter and everything. I was spilling a little bit. So I'm going to say I got about 45 gallons in that tank right now. And hopefully it will rain a little bit tonight, and I'll be able to collect a little bit that way. If it doesn't rain, I'll just run to the creek again in the near future and put another 50 gallons in there. That's not all I've been up to tonight. I'll show you the rest of it. So I got the clear plastic put on my greenhouse. It's not a perfect job. It's a patched together job. It's kind of the way I like it. Because I didn't pay anything for this greenhouse, except for I did buy the clear plastic, because I kind of think that this fabric here, it doesn't let the sun in as much, and I'm thinking that might have been a little bit of my problem last year with growing things. I did okay, but I would like to do better, and I want to try other things. I don't want to just stick with I don't want to do the same thing over and over if I'm not getting the results that I'm hoping for. Gardening is a learning curve for me, and I really want to learn how to do a better job at it. So I did keep the doorway, and I did keep the back, because the back has a window in it, and the front has the zipper door, which, move this ladder, which I'll zip closed at night, and in the daytime when it's really hot in there, I will be able to open it up, and I'll be able to open up that window and keep the temperature down, because that's another problem that I know I did last year, is I let it get way too hot inside the greenhouse. So again, it's just a learning curve for me, and I'm just hoping to get better and better. Maybe by the time I'm retired, I will be a good gardener. I have a few more years to learn, though. Those are the other beds. I did throw some potatoes into this bed right here last night. I got some potatoes in there, and it looks like my Keone dog. See the tracks there? It looks like my Keone dog got up in the bed, walked around a little bit, sniffing. Crazy puppy dog. And then in this grow bag, I threw 2 russet potatoes in there. And I am doing 3 different types of potatoes this year. Red potatoes, Yukon Gold potatoes, and russet potatoes. Those are the 3 types that I'm trying to grow this year. So yeah, it's about 10 o'clock. It's getting kind of late. I'm going to go in, edit this video really quick. It's just going to be a quick edit, nothing major. Throw some scenes together, call it good. Thank you for watching this edition of Not So Remote Alaska. And until next time, may God bless and keep each and every one of you. And with that, I am out.